When was the last time you saw Howard? I think you told this story. Wasn't it in a hospital?
The other thing was the other thing that kind of hurt was the day I walked out of that show, and it was bad. He clearly made up his mind. I'm just never going to see Artie again. He can write people off like that. I'm not like that. I come from this big Guinea family where you fucking forgive everything. And I didn't see him for 2 years. I went to rehab. I came back. I was doing all right. I got this show with Apollo, and we were making good money and having fun. And I was doing stand up again. And I mean, the first show I went back to do stand-up, I sold 6,000 tickets in Philly in like 20 minutes because I guess I was an oddity. They wanted to see if I was walking. But like a gorilla in its enclosure. But I was back. Right.
Don't disturb him. Don't disturb him.
I was at one of those early shows. That's when I finally...
this is the show I saw you.
When we finally socialized. We used to see each other in the hallway here and there.
Again, so I figured it was like I couldn't get in touch with him. I would call him and go, Howard, I just want to say I'm sorry. Because it wasn't his fault at all. When fans say that, I get so fucking mad, and I try to defend them. But maybe he was mad at that I put him through that, And people do lie to him, by the way, about stuff I never did, because the fucking sharks are swirling. A lot of people who thought they could sit in that chair, who, there's a reason that chair has been empty for and not just because he hates me.
Right.
But a lot of those people, there's a lot of gossip over there that I never partook in because I don't want to be a sycophant. I would say to myself, I can be funny without that shit. I don't have to tell you someone has a stain on their shirt. I can be funny.
Yeah.
And I was sort of proud of that. So who knows? But someone probably told him something that might not be true, and he doesn't instead of checking with me. So it hurt a little bit that he was never going to see me again. Howard, Robin Quivers, who I adore, too. She, again, so generous to me when I was there. She bought me these real expensive gifts, was very nice to me. I threw her a party at my shore house, the only non-family member who I threw a party for because I felt I owed her, and I loved hanging out with her. She got sick. She got cancer, and no one knew about it publicly for a while, but I got called by her assistant, and he said, Robin wants you to know, and I was devastated by it. And she was getting a big operation at Beth Israel, and I went over there, and I made sure she was going to see visitors, and I went to, unannounced, I was going to surprise her. And I made sure through the assistant it'd be okay. So I went there, and the security guard recognized me, and I go, he's up there,
Oh, immediately.
I get this guy listen so much, it's like, he gets, he knows the feel. I'm like, what do you, all right, everything's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't get out the Uzis. I walk in the room, it's me, Howard, and Robin. After 2 years, after all that happened, in a small hospital room. Howard looked at me. It was like we just got off the radio. He said, "We got to make Robin laugh. Come on, Artie, let's make Robin laugh." Perfect. Artie's a perfect guy. And I sat down, and for like an hour, we talked like we were on the radio, making her laugh. And it was like touching almost.
Yeah.
And then he had to leave, and I said, "I'm going to stay and talk to Robin for a while." And I hugged him, and I said, "I'm sorry. This is not the place to do it." And he goes, "How you doing?" I go, "I'm on to the show with Nick." He goes, "That's great." And it was sort of like this. I'm done now, that attitude of like I got to leave.
Right.
So I let him go, and I hugged him, and that was it. He goes, "Can I call you?" He goes, "Yeah." So I stayed with Robin for another hour or so, and that was very nice. She looked good, but she was in the woods for a while, and she beat it, and I know she would. And I got out and I called him again, and he never called me back. 3 times I left messages. I said, "This is the last time, man. I'm not going to be that guy who bugs you."
And you didn't want anything.
No,
you were
of course not. No,
I want people to know that because you were doing great with Nick and the books.
I don't need anything.
Yeah.
Look, I would go back to loaded trucks before I asked anybody for anything.
Sure.
I don't need that. But I want to let people know how great Howard was to me and how great a person I knew and why this is all just a little weird. That's all,
Right.
That's how it sounds to me. I don't think in a minute ago when you said it was like touching, it was fucking amazingly touching.
Yeah. I mean, we were
the hospital room story. It was like that. No, I was sitting there. I'm like, I'm about to tear up. It was more than like touching.
Right.
Yeah.
It was fucking touching.
Well, the 3 of us were alone. Imagine that in the hospital.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think why the hospital room worked was because everything was stripped down to just nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was no bullshit.
And there was a real serious thing.
Yeah.
Robin was sick.
Right, right. So all the gossip doesn't mean anything. The relationships you might have with other fucking people and the fans and this and that. It was just you 3 in a room in a serious situation.
And Howard immediately diffused it. He immediately said,
But my point is that should have fueled something.
Yeah.
Something. Not maybe.
I called him. That's all I can tell you. The truth is, I called him. I left 3 voicemails, 3 different days, and finally I said, Howard, I'm not going to be that guy because I've been on the other side of this.
I didn't talk to him for almost 2.5 years, and
you never, guys can make the kind of comedy in the radio you make. Like fans want to think you get along.
Right.
I think that's what I always said about the Beatles. Like people say, you want them to get along. You want Alan Arkin was getting interviewed. And he was a big Beatles fan. He said, "Look, it was so sad to us. These guys who made this music hated each other.
Right? They hated each other the whole time.
Right? Because you feel like you're duped as fans or something.
Right.
You wanted it to be like the movie where they all walk in 4 separate doors, and then they're actually living in one big room together.
That's what I mean. Right? That's what you think it is.
Right.